Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. When I was a radio DJ, I remember the first thing they told you is never apologize for a mistake that you made. If you started a song too quickly or you ended it too badly, they would say never apologize because 99% of the people listening to the radio show will never hear that mistake. And by apologizing, all you're doing is bringing attention to the mistake. So I am breaking that rule, and I have to start off by apologizing because I've had a lot of problems today with microphone. My microphone, I don't have one. I've ordered one. It hasn't arrived yet. And I couldn't, since I'm going to be painting today, I couldn't very well wear my son's uh, headphones that he uses to game and that I used yesterday when I did the streaming. So what do I have? I have, as you can see, my little earplug headphones and a lot of crackling noise and doesn't sound that great, I know. So we got to do with what we have. And so let's start anyway. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to continue on my painting right here. I am also going to, well, first of all, when I started painting years ago, I all I had to worry about was my painting. It wasn't very complicated. All I had to do was concentrate on what I was going to paint. And then a few years ago, I decided I would make a movie of all my paintings. So I had to stop and learn how to break off the meditation that came with the painting because after all, when you start painting, that's the best part, is that your mind wanders off. It gets stoned, put on some music, and you paint, and then your mind drifts, and that's the best part of painting. Then when I decided to make these movies, I had to juggle between two things. I had to worry about my painting, and then I had to worry about the cameras because always keeping in mind the viewer, and so the thing wasn't too repetitious because after all, every painting takes place in the same spot, and you're doing a different painting. I agree, but you want to. I wanted to bring more to the viewer than just the same repetitious settings. So I think of different scenarios. Sometimes would be me walking into the studio, opening the shutters. Other times would be coming in the street, or different scenarios for every movie I made. Now I'm adding a third element to my painting, and it's the streaming. So now I don't know what exactly how it's all going to work out. I know I'm just starting off, and like I did when I started my movies, it's going to take a while to get used to it because at the end, juggling with two cameras and doing my painting, I did it like in an automatic way. I didn't think about it anymore. Didn't have to break off my meditation, and I could just continue painting, turn on the camera at the right moment, turn it off at the right moment. I had all that down pat. Now I have to think about now a live streaming, so I'm going to have to juggle with my cameras. I have two of them. I'm going to have to juggle with my webcam and my other camera, which is going to give a close up of the painting behind me. So I'm going to have to get used to all of these techniques. So, anyways, so I'm going to start off, and what I'm going to basically do, I'm going to continue on the purple part of my painting. Um, I'm going to, I like having three tones in my backgrounds, so I'm going to add like another lighter purple, and I'm also going to try to be careful because um, I know that when the paint dries, it gets a lot darker. So I'm going to mix in my paints, paint a little white, a little purple, and I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have to be careful because I really want to keep this very light. And so here we go, mixing up the little paint. Keep it real light if possible. This should just take a few minutes to do this background since the painting is fairly small. Let's say it's about like 3.5 feet by 2.5 feet maybe. So I consider that a relatively small painting. But since I had the canvas, might as well use it. So let's see what this does. Make it just a little darker. So as I said, when it dries, it gets darker. I hope this won't be too dark though. When it dries and you won't even see what I did. I'll have to see. Ah, la, 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 la. Well, this is going to be the real challenge here. Concentrating on the painting, trying to change the camera angle so it doesn't get too boring for you at home, and also not to blow my painting as well. So this is going to be the challenge. I have my keyboard here right in next to me like that. I can remotely change angles of the camera, but I'm also not that used to it. So get back, see what that does. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll let that dry. So as you can notice in the background, I have this blue tarp because I also paint on canvas that isn't stretched, and I usually just staple it against the wall, and But I also painted a mural behind here in my studio, a 360-degree mural. And as not to paint over it and not spoil it, I had to put this tarp there to protect it. So maybe as we're waiting for this to dry, I will show you a clip of this mural that I'm talking about. So I'm going to come back here on my main thing, and I'm going to look here on my computer, see if I can find this. Here it is. I'm going to play this with you. I also have some music of my friend Pete's in the background. Hopefully that will come through as well. So there we go. Let's go do that. And I'm going to shut off my mic. Well, actually, maybe. So I'll get out of the frame for you. So as you see, we start off kind of underground. We're in like a submarine, and you have like the controls to the submarine surrounded by a big porthole on the ocean floor. And then after that, we're going to go into space. And we have the father showing Earth to his son, the planet that he screwed up, or the planet that they're going to, who knows, whatever you want, back into space with the astronaut. And then we're going to have my Manichaean view of life after the philosopher Manes, who simplified life as a battle between good versus evil. Then up in the balcony, we have the capitalists, the army, the aristocracy, the judges all looking down on the people, because underneath the balcony, you have an ode to the farmers and the working class. And then underneath my window, we have people working in the mines, hard labor. And then we come back up into civilization with the rat race, sex games, armament, pollution, industrialization, and whatnot. And then we get back to the first, well, here's my floor, I guess, my typical floor. And then we're back to the beginning of my wall piece. So you can see why I'm protecting this as we go along. So now we're just kind of waiting. I usually have a fan that I put on, but I'm afraid of the racket. So I would rather just wait a little bit before we continue working on this background. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to splatter some turquoise paint. I'm not exactly sure. I'm so preoccupied with the streaming and getting everything right and ready, I didn't really have time to look at my painting actually and think of what I was going to do. But anyway, so we'll see. Like usual in painting, you start from the background and you work your way towards the front. That's usually how it does work. I haven't always done that myself. For many years, I painted on paper and I glued the paintings in the street. I've done that for like years. I actually stopped painting on canvas for about 10 years or so and just dedicated myself to just on painting on paper to glue in the street. You know, this was in the early 90s with this group of French artists called Zen Copyright, with who I worked with. And actually, I'll show you a few samples if we can go back into this area here. And let me look, see if I can find, did make like a little slideshow of these posters. So here we go. Here we have them. And, yeah, let me get that started for you. There we go. These are kind of posters I used to do for a while with some of them at first for like promotion for the galleries that we owned and that we opened. And then after that, it just became a little more decorative, always with my symbol, of course, of my Zen Rebel dude in there. So at this point, when I was doing these kind of posters, the obvious goal was not to do quality, but was to do quantity. I mean, the whole point was like to crank these suckers out as much as you can. And then when we had a pile of these paintings, we would go out for the whole afternoon to a certain area in Paris, or I've glued these posters in Paris, in New York, in Berlin, Amsterdam. Anyways, so then we would just invest a certain area, and then we would glue these posters, take a whole afternoon, and was a lot of fun. I'll eventually have more pictures and show you more about what was going on. So there we go. And I'm gonna go back and take a look at my painting here and see where we're at. Yep. So that's about dry. And like I said, I think the next thing I'm going to do is like splatter. I want to see some turquoise, and then maybe we'll do some like something like that. We might resemble some flowers on top of that. So for that, I'm going to need some paper and some. Start off like that. All right. So weird. And of course, I forgot to turn on my other cameras for my movie now. So where am I going to put this guy? I guess I'm going to put him right here. Turn him on. There we go. Putting these guys here. Doesn't have to be too precise, but at the same time, if you're going to do it, might as well do it right. Go, protect as much as you can. Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to use tape rather than paper. It's a little more. There we go. So as I do this, why don't I turn off that guy? We'll turn him back on at the end. When I film, I kind of like film at the first few seconds of the action and then the last few seconds, even though it might be several hours between the beginning and the end. And then, let me see, what was I going to say? While I do this, maybe I could play for you one of my movies here. Let me see, how's this going? So there we go. Mm, 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 mm. I'm just going to play one of my movies for you. Unfortunately, I am going to have to take off the sound because of copyright reasons. Now, that's the way it goes. And I will continue to do my masking. The movie is about 4 minutes long. And it's called Dancing Shoes. It was one of the paintings, part of the series of dancers. Who's gonna dance with me tonight? So how are we doing? Okay, I'm at the end of this movie. Very good. And I am going to continue with my masking here. And since I am not that used to doing the streaming live, I think I'm going to end the stream basically right here. Start it off tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because again, with this problem of a microphone, I'm not sure if it's even working or not. I don't know if it sounds so bad that it's not even worth staying on the channel, which I wouldn't blame anybody. So I am going to end the stream maybe right now. I'm going to thank you all for joining me. And I am maybe just going to conclude the show by showing you my schedule. I hope to be back, like I said, tomorrow I hope to do the streaming every time I come and paint, which is basically between Mondays and Fridays. So I'm here every afternoon painting, and this is why I decided to do the streaming. Since I'm here, why not bring you in and thought it'd just be fun. So anyways, I'm going to thank you once again, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.